And President Trump addressing the nation last night in a prime-time speech with important updates on the Iranian conflict, saying that the United States is close to completing the mission and will hit Iran extremely hard in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Fox News' chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel now live in Washington with the very latest from the speech. Mike.
Good morning, Maria. President Trump signaling to allies and adversaries America's military objectives will likely be complete soon as the United States military continues pounding strategic targets deep inside Iran to further degrade the Iranian regime's ability to project power. U.S. Central Command says more than 12,300 targets have been struck. More than 155 Iranian vessels have been damaged or destroyed.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong.
The president also signaling he could end U.S. military operations without reopening the Strait of Hormuz, a critical shipping lane, calling on European leaders to step up.
Go to the strait and just take it, protect it. Use it for yourselves. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done, so it should be easy.
Gasoline prices in the U.S. have topped $4 a gallon as the conflict with Iran drives a sharp rise in fuel costs. The president suggesting the economic impact is likely short-term.
That will resume the flowing and the gas prices will rapidly come back down. Stock prices will rapidly go back up.
Fuel markets have been quite sensitive to disruptions related to the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has restricted traffic there, causing a price spike here at home. Maria?
Yes, of course. Mike, thank you. Mike Emanuel. And joining us right now is former National Security Council Chief of Staff under President Trump's first term and former CIA analyst Fred Fleitz. Fred, thanks very much for being here this morning. I know you attended the speech last night. What was the reaction in the room?
Well, the president was in great form. The cabinet was there, and they were just delighted to hear about the historic success of this operation, wiping out Iran's capability of making nuclear weapons, of making missiles. Its military has been devastated. But the key message, I think, of this presentation was that President Trump is going to keep his word. This will not be an endless war. He's going to wrap it up in a couple of weeks after we knock out some remaining military, nuclear, and missile sites. And also he gave an ultimatum to whoever is running Iran right now that if they do not make a deal to end this conflict, there will be devastating consequences. The energy infrastructure will be destroyed. The electricity generating infrastructure will be attacked. The president does not want to do that. He's giving the remaining members of the regime an opportunity, but I think he's pretty serious. He's going to wrap this up, and if Iran doesn't cooperate, there will be significantly more devastation.
You know, there were two other items in the president's speech that really struck me. Number one, it was the president giving a message to Europe and our allies across the world who are reliant on the Strait of Hormuz. He told them to build up delayed courage and go take the strait because you need the oil. And he also said, which I thought was really compelling, that the U.S. is now producing more oil than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. These were two incredible statements. First, give us your sense of the message that he sent to our neighbors. Do you think they're getting it?
Well, the president is obviously extremely frustrated with our European allies for not assisting with this operation, for not abiding by their commitments to stand by us. Look, this is an operation that's going to benefit global security. They rely on energy coming through the Strait of Hormuz, but they didn't lift a finger to help us and denied us the use of bases that we were able to get around not using those bases, but it certainly made this operation harder and probably more dangerous. And I think this is going to be a consequence from this operation that's going to be around for a long time. And the president also made clear we don't need the Strait of Hormuz. We have more than enough energy to fuel our own country.
What about the issue on oil production? I mean, all of this in the face of a strengthening America with regard to oil production, that we are producing more oil than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. That's powerful.
The drill baby drill made a real difference. You can see her. But can I
Huge.
raise another issue here? And that's about this enriched uranium. You've probably been hearing people coming on TV for the last couple of weeks saying we need to send troops in to dig this enriched uranium out. I've been against that. I think it's too dangerous. The president's message on this was very interesting. He said, we have bombed the heck out of the facility where we believe this stuff is buried, and we're going to be watching it very closely with satellites to make sure Iran does not dig it out. That's the right approach. I don't want to see American troops put at risk by trying to excavate this dangerous material from inside of Iran.
All right. So you're feeling good about where we are right now, and you think it will be over in 2 to 3 weeks?
I think so. And look, the president made a promise. This would not be an endless war. He would wrap this up in 4 to 6 weeks. He said, we're going to finish the job with some intensified airstrikes. I believe these airstrikes are going to be concentrated on missiles and drones that can threaten the Strait of Hormuz. I think that we can do that. And he will then de-escalate to an operation where there'll be a large military presence in the Arabian Sea, just south of Iran and next to Oman, that can conduct operations if necessary. But the Iranian regime has a choice here. If they're going to continue to fight with what they have left in their missile arsenal, the U.S. is going to respond accordingly.
All right. We will leave it there. Fred, we'll talk with you along the way. Thanks so much for weighing in. Fred Fleitz joining us this morning. We'll see you soon, and we'll be right back.